Company's going all out with Let's Plays and reaction videos all week long. Subscribe now at youtube.com/kindoffunnygames to not miss a thing. We're good? What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever E3 2016 Bethesda press conference, Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Geddes, joined by the coolest dudes in video games, Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller.
Asumima-san.
So, Colin.
Yeah.
Are you heartbroken? No Wolfenstein?
I'm sad about it, but I mean, objectively speaking, that was a very good conference, I think.
It was a solid conference.
I thought it was
a good conference.
I thought it was a little long in the end with Dishonored, but I mean, I didn't get the game I wanted, which was Wolfenstein, but Machine Games didn't announce anything, so it's not like they're not working on anything. They're working on something. They're not ready to go. So perhaps this fits with it more within the strategy of announcing games when they're closer. And we saw at the end that both Machine Games and Tango were in there. You know, the teams exist and they're working. So, you know, when we look at it compared to the EA conference, I think it was way stronger than the EA conference.
100%.
And
Yes,
they announced
no
games. I mean, they announced 2 games in particular. They announced Quake Champions, and then they announced Prey. So, or re-announced Prey, re-revealed Prey. So I think, you know, I don't think it was as strong as last year's because I don't think anything's gonna have the oomph of Fallout 4, and I don't think even announcing Tango's game and or Machine Games game would have made it stronger than that because that was such a kick in the balls moment, you know, for people.
Yeah.
Still, I think it was I think it was very good. I think it'll be easy for one of the first parties to beat it tomorrow. But,
100%.
But you know, we'll see.
Yeah, I definitely think it has potential to be the best of the third-party conferences. I think this was it was a strong conference for sure. I think Ubisoft would have to try pretty hard tomorrow to beat this one. Again, Bethesda's not really my thing, so none of these games were like, yeah, but like it's exciting. Quake, didn't expect that necessarily. So
yeah, that was bizarre.
That's one of those things I was talking about.
Oh, that was a roller coaster of emotions for me.
Yeah.
There. Because what I was talking about before was I was wrong in assuming that teams that have gone recently or are about to go wouldn't go again.
Yeah.
And what we saw, interestingly enough, like the 2 big games that we saw today are from teams that already have one that just released a game and one that's about to release a game.
Yep.
So that was weird. That was unorthodox, and I wouldn't have guessed at both of them. Like, I would have never guessed in a million years that if Quake existed, and it does, that Machine Games wasn't making it, that id was making it. That was such a sigh of relief when I saw id's logo instead of Machine Games, but I didn't expect that. That said, Quake Champions is probably a way scaled back game compared to
the fact
Doom.
that they're saying, well, that and the fact that they're just calling it Quake Champions, I think makes it pretty clear that not that it's going to be not a game you want to play, but it's going to be a smaller game than what Doom is. It's going to be, it's not Quake numbered, it's not Quake Reboot, it is Quake Champions. It's PC exclusive. It seems like it's going to be just this multiplayer suite that you get out into the Quake universe that so many people claim they want. You'll be back to that.
Yeah, I think it's great that they're bringing that back. I mean, people forget that with the acquisition of id, you get all of those great IPs. So like, they would be stupid not to utilize Wolfenstein and Quake, which they're doing, and Doom, obviously. So I mean, that's half of the value of the company. You know, half the value of getting the developer, not most of the value of getting the developers actually getting those games, because as you saw with Wolfenstein, they just parlayed it to someone else. So and it worked out great. So I think Quake Champions looks cool. It's not my kind of game. I have no interest in playing it. I don't like arena combat. I don't want to play multiplayer games, and it's PC exclusive. But you know, much to id's credit with their obsession, their just absolute obsession with technical fidelity, unlocking the frame rate is like such an id thing where they're like, fuck it.
Yeah.
You know, we're
Fuck
not
it.
Like we're
Whatever
not gonna,
y'all want.
Yeah, like we're not gonna like cap the frame rate to make the game run better or whatever. Like we're confident that we can unlock the frame rate. So that is a very id move. And I thought that was pretty neat.
My biggest question in the conference is what happened to the Woo Girl? She's
an Elder Scrolls Online fan.
Once that was done for everything before then.
Well, that was the big one. That's what she was building up to. There was the Woo Girl and the Yeah guy. It was, yeah, every so often.
Woo Girls
That's
what
what they were about.
That's all there is.
So
in
some
life.
folks are saying in that boot up terminal where they booted up Quake, it says Wolfenstein: The New Colossus as one of the games. So maybe that's it. But I mean, I don't know.
That's a small tease. That could be whatever they're putting.
That's cool though.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So going through all the announcements, they started off with Quake Champions by id. We talked about that. We're going to hear more about that at QuakeCon. Very cool for those interested in that. Then they went through the Elder Scrolls Legends strategy card game, announced that it's also coming to mobile.
And everybody just said, where's Gwent? Why isn't this Gwent? Not Gwent, not Gwent, not Gwent.
I'm sure they've seen the success of Fallout Shelter, and they're like, let's do more of this mobile shit, which I think is a good move for them. Then Fallout 4, whole bunch of talk about their DLC and all that stuff. They got a contraptions workshop coming next week. And then Vault Tech coming in July.
Build your own vault, which is interesting.
That
Yeah.
exciting to you guys?
No.
I mean, it's cooler than building a settlement.
Yeah, it was
It's a step in
definitely
a
cool.
different direction.
It
Maybe-
looked a little bit like Minecraft in terms of putting stairs in and going down and drilling in. It'll be interesting. And then they turned it out and it looked like Fallout Shelter. So to see how that comes together will be fascinating. Then they did Nuka World.
Yeah.
Which,
August.
based on how they talked about everything else, I'm like, is that a new area to explore, or is that something I'm building, or is that I'm going to get to go in there and get some quests and see what's up? Because that's what I want. Obviously, I want it to be just like going to the stadium or whatever, Diamond City, getting a whole bunch of things, finding a new settlement, finding a new universe there. That's what I'm looking for out of Nuka World. If I'll get that, I don't know.
Cool. It's coming in
August.
August. Is there anything else of note here, Colin? From
So
the
the
boot
boot
up
up, the
stream.
Quake boot up is all of like id's games, but it's also Machine Games games because it starts with Keen, which is of course Commander Keen. That's id's original side scroller before they did Wolfenstein. Then it says Wolf 3D, and then New Order, then Old Blood, then New Colossus. And next to New Colossus there's just asterisks instead of release dates. These are all the release dates for
Very
the other
cool.
games. And then they have
That's
Doom,
fun.
Doom 2, Doom 3, and they do the Doom 2 like they did the Apple II with the converting brackets, and then Doom 4. So I think that's probably the name of the game, and that makes me super excited.
Yeah.
Although using new again,
They got a thing. They're going to stick with it.
Yeah, definitely.
They ain't scared.
pretty neat.
Don't you be scared.
For people that want to see the screenshot, you can go find it. It's on my Twitter account.
Fallout Shelter coming to PC, and updates coming in July.
New combat system.
Got a whole bunch of stuff going on over there. Skyrim Special Edition. So not remastered, obviously not HD.
Looked beautiful in the shots they showed.
Man, the transitions between PS3 and PS4 and Xbox 360 and Xbox
Notable.
One were like definitely notable.
Yeah.
And being done internally.
Good
Get a handle on those
catch.
systems. Figure it all out.
It's
got-
that was surprising to me. Although this kicks back the Elder Scrolls 6, I think considerably. If they have a team still on Fallout 4 support, and then they have a team porting the game over, then you have to and the game. It's not a straight port. There's a lot of like new shaders and things like that in the game.
Yeah.
It's something that they had to put a lot of thought and time into. It seems like it was a technical project that was intentionally undertaken at the
I
studio.
like that mods are on the consoles. It looks like they made it seem like that'll launch day one, so that's nice.
Day one being October 28th, 2016. So not too far away from now. Then the big one for me, debut
Me
of
too.
Prey. That looked awesome.
That looks really,
Looks
really
fantastic, and there's a big surprise there. Arcane Austin working on it. Now, not a huge surprise because that was what the leak indicated 3 years ago. Is that Arcane Austin was working on it. What's surprising again was that they're showing 2 Arcane games, and I think that those are the biggest 2 games that they've shown was from one studio or really a family. One in France, one in Texas. So I think that was pretty cool, and the game looks fantastic. It looks
Yeah.
very different than what I saw.
It looks very Dead Space.
good. Oh yeah, no,
which
it
is
doesn't.
awesome.
Yeah, it looked way more
It's
like
first
Dead Space
person,
from what we're saying. Yeah.
The Prey, I thought.
Prey you saw. Prey 2 was first person as well.
Oh, okay. So what I visualize, did they ever release the footage of that game?
I think so.
Like when you're doing side quests in like a bar, it's like a very futuristic
you
kind of place, or
climb-
whatever. and
It always reminded me of Mass Effect. It looked like a Mass Effect world.
Yeah. So it's to me it got a different vibe. It seems way more arcane.
Yeah.
Super interested to see how
Psychological
Human
thriller,
Head Studios shit the bed on that one because
Ho!
the game was taken away from them, and I'd be super interested to see what in the future if that's ever talked about.
There's a lot of
more
people in the
detail.
comments saying that they said that they started porting Skyrim when they started working on Fallout 4. I didn't hear that.
It's possible.
Did you guys?
They might have given that information since they've been
Oh,
doing this.
maybe, yeah.
The game was just confirmed, so they would have never said that until now. But that's possible.
Yeah.
Again, it's a technical kind of exercise. They did say back in the day that they started porting it to Xbox One. That might be what people are talking about. Remember that
Yeah,
news came
I
out a
do
while ago,
remember
but I don't know if that's related.
Then after the Prey announcement, they went to Doom. Free DLC coming next month. Paid
That's
DLC
Matt.
also coming, and then a Doom demo available tonight. You can play the first level, and that'll be available all week.
Nice move.
Yeah,
Good move.
very
A
cool.
lot of buzz around Doom. It's a great way to get you in.
I also like that Bethesda's doing this thing where during their conferences they have something that you could do now.
Sure.
Last year they had Fallout Shelter. This year Doom demo, very cool. Then Elder Scrolls Online. That's when I went to the bathroom. Had to take a break. It's going international, going to Japan. There's a Dark Brotherhood expansion.
There's a girl in the audience who really digs it.
Oh yeah, the Woo Girl was
7
wooing
million players and
hard.
growing accordingly.
The one Tamriel is the big announcement there, where everybody starts, they're auto leveled up and the full game's open after the tutorial.
Yeah, the idea being that if I had been playing and I was level 20 and you just started, you could come join and play with me and earn XP and build out that
Sounds
way.
whack.
It's not whack. It's actually a really good thing. It's one of the big problems with games like
Sounds
this.
whack.
Then I think the biggest
This
surprise.
is like the big problem with the Division, where I was like, oh, it sucks. You played last
Yeah,
night.
but
and
do
I
you scale
didn't.
back down when you're done?
Yeah, that'd be the idea.
So why would you want to scale up and skip ahead and see shit that you're not supposed to see in like
because it's not MMOs aren't like that. This is about playing with friends, getting XP, doing whatever.
I have too many friends. I don't want to play with.
You don't have any friends actually.
That's a good point.
You're allowed just to say I have no friends, and that's what I want.
That's a really good point.
I think the biggest surprise of the show was Bethesda VR. They talked about two separate things, Doom and then Fallout 4.
Doom being a VR tour of the world.
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, getting that game to run in VR would be extraordinarily difficult considering how it runs.
Well, it's the same thing with Fallout 4, where they're like, Fallout 4 is playable in VR. And it's like, on the HTC Vive, we'll release it in 2017. Awesome. And everybody's like, what about PlayStation VR? And it's like, all right, guys. Yeah. It barely runs on the console to begin with. We're not going to put you
not that I'm very technical, but rendering Fallout 4 in VR has got to be way easier than rendering Doom, just based on how fucking incredibly fast that game is and how you need silky frame rates for that game to work.
Sure.
Fallout 4 never had silky frame rates, so yeah, I think it's really neat. HTC Vive exclusive wasn't super shocking like you said.
Right.
I do think it's cool that big companies are kind of showcasing VR for like real games like Fallout 4 at their conferences. I think it's a good message going forward for VR and the future VR, because that's the stuff that people really care about,
Yeah.
Then it turned into just Dishonored for the rest of it, for like what felt like a third of the entire show, which lasted forever.
Yeah, it was a momentum killer. I understand why they did it. Someone in the chat said that Bethesda had shed about 50,000 viewers off their Twitch stream during it.
I mean, the chat was very, very 50-50 on every single.
So was Twitter. Twitter was either you loved this or you were bored.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm in the minority here, but I was really bored by that stuff. I think the game looks beautiful. They showed like a world video where they're like, it's on the Void engine.
That was a bad way to start, I feel. Because I was like, is this all you're doing? And then they jumped in and like, finally. Kept going.
But I thought it was weird because they showed that and it looks beautiful. Like there's shadows everywhere. And it has a nice realistic feel to it.
Yeah.
And then they showed the gameplay demo and it felt really disjointed and weird and they kept jumping all over the place from section to section. I'm like, what?
It wasn't a vertical slice. It was, let's drop you into different sections, show very specific things.
And the sections felt weird to me. I was like, it felt disjointed and not engaging. And then they showed a more lengthy gameplay thing that I thought felt very samey. The animations they didn't match the quality of the world's visuals. Like I think that like a lot of the kill animations, I'm like, all right, that's going to get old really fast. And I thought it looked really boring. But again, Dishonored's just not my thing.
Yeah, it's not your kind of game. I mean, Dishonored oozes BioShock vibes to me, which I think is fucking fantastic. They definitely have a lot of. They definitely were influenced by Ken Levine, and I think that's pretty clear with the original Dishonored. And I think that carries over to the second Dishonored. I think the game looks awesome. I think what we saw looked great. I just think it was something that you shouldn't have ended your conference with, and I understand why they did that. That is the only game that they have that is, a new AAA release coming out this year. So obviously they want people they want to support it. They want to end with the you can pre-order. They want to end with the go get the collector's edition. I totally get that, but it was a momentum killer. It seems like everyone is, with the exception of rare years with random companies, no one's immune to just fucking up their own conference in some way. But I still say that overall this was I don't want to say extremely good, but very good conference that had solid game reveals. They showed gameplay. They talked about games, supporting games that are already out. It wasn't a lot of like hypotheticals. And we were talking before about the assumption that if they showed Wolfenstein and The Evil Within 2, that they might not have a press conference next year. But guess what? Now, I'm just looking at the list I made here. Oops, drop my mouse. Thank you. Well, I'll just get it. Doesn't matter. I can use the pad. Bethesda Game Studio is working on Skyrim HD, but obviously they're gonna also support Fallout 4, and then the Elder Scrolls 6 is probably is probably next. Thank you, Kevin. He just touched my leg. So that's probably next, and then you have Arcane, obviously with their hands completely full, with Dishonored 2 and Prey. Battlecry, no mention of them. id Software, hands surprisingly full because of Doom post-launch support, and Quake. Machine Games and Tangleworks are the ones that we don't know what they're doing. So that you would assume is the buttress of the next conference next year, and stays within the parameters that they set for themselves last year, which I think is smart. That these games, I think that Quake could be ready sooner than you think. Not this year, but. So I think it was a well done conference. Would I have wanted more? Of course, I always want more.
See, I think it was a good conference. I think this is one that you could have, going back to when we were talking about how last year we were like, well, they won't do one again. I think you could have gotten away and not done one this year. Don't get me wrong. There's announcements here, there's things, but there's so much not filler, but stuff you know doesn't speak to the mainstream. All this, you know what I mean? We're talking about the card game, talking about Shelter, talking about even Special Edition would have. I expected more out of that Special Edition reveal than what it was when it was Todd Howard in a can segment saying we're doing it. And here's like comparison screenshots, right? There wasn't like you could have cut a trailer that was like the fucking Skyrim music kicking in and bend something. This felt in a way similar like the Doom snap map stuff. It was in the same vein of. Now, granted, concrete things you're going to be playing in the next 6 to 10 months, but it was still in the same way of the EA developer diaries of like, hey, this is what we've been working on, and that's not nearly as exciting as coming out and be like, bam, here it is. Let me walk you through. Let me show you something. Let's do that.
Yeah. So I think that, not to project so far into the future, but that you do have your pillars moving forward.
Sure.
Obviously, Arcane's going to need a nice long break soon. Both of their studios and stuff, and Bethesda Game Studios obviously cranking away. So yeah, I thought it was very strong. Didn't Portillo drink that water?
No, I washed.
Okay.
I changed it out when I went to the bathroom.
All right. So yeah, I mean, not much else to say. I mean, I thought it was very good. Not exactly what I wanted. I wouldn't call it great. I wouldn't call it fantastic. I think it's shit on EA's conference regardless.
Yeah.
I think the first half of it, as I tweeted out, I think the first half alone embarrassed EA's showing. And I think that's more how you conduct the press conference, but I do think that the last half was a drag, even though I think Dishonored 2 looks fantastic.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I don't think Bethesda needed a conference this year, but it's, whatever. They did it, and I don't think that they did a bad job. And,
Exactly.
Whatever. Honestly, I'd rather conferences over not conferences, so.
This is literally the example of what I've been saying all day with the Adam Boys thing. If we want 3 things in there to be really stand out to you, I go through this thing, and there's 3 things that stand out to me. So it doesn't matter that the rest of it wasn't like, no. It just it feels different. It doesn't feel as good.
Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the first ever E3 2016 Bethesda Kind of Funny Gamescast reactions thing. I'm Tim Geddes, coolest dudes in video games, Colin and Greg. We'll be back tomorrow all day. I don't even think we're going to stop tomorrow. It's going to be fucking crazy. Maybe we will.
No, fuck it. Who cares?
We're going all day, baby. Twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. If not, VOD over at youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Subscribe so you get way more of our faces.
What time do we start tomorrow? 9? 9 o'clock is our Xbox pre-show. Holy shit.
That's going to be fun. E3 2016 is happening. Kind of Funny's going all out with Let's Plays and reaction videos all week long. Subscribe now at youtube.com/kindoffunnygames to not miss a thing.